guys, I'm Dr. Brittani Jackson. I'm an attending family medicine physician.
And I'm Dr. Brandi Jackson. I'm one of the chief residents of psychiatry at the University of Illinois at Chicago.
If you want to hear about our journey through medicine, check out the first video.
Yep.
It's definitely really tough to be a pre-med. I remember at our college, it seemed like everybody started off as pre-med, and like definitely by the end of the first year, people were just dropping like flies. Probably like 2/3 of people dropped it. So it's a hard road. It kind of weeds a lot of people out early, but definitely worth it to stick with it.
Yeah,
some challenging courses though.
Yeah, I just remember organic chemistry being, or some people call it orgo, being really difficult, and it was not easy. And I think when I took that class, I wondered, should I be a doctor? Because this is very, very hard. And if this is what being a doctor is, I don't know, maybe I'm in the wrong field. And I just would, one piece of advice would be to not think any one course will predict how you will be as a doctor. Many of us who are currently doctors had a hard time with one or more than one of the pre-med courses. So definitely don't count yourself out if you're having a tough time. The important thing is to get whatever help you need to kind of like just humble yourself. If it's office hours, study groups, private tutors, if you can get one, if you can afford it. Use all the resources that are there, and just try to keep your head up, because many of us have struggled, and you know what? Now
we're doctors. And I will also say the one thing that I think was good about good in a perverse way, eventually was good about the pre-med courses is that they are very rigorous, and that I think a lot of us can get by on just being really naturally smart, but really those classes start forcing you to actually make sure you also have like good study habits, that you have routines, and that does carry over to medical school. Smarts, no matter how intelligent you are, we're all sharp to get into medical school, but those study habits, trust me, you want to get those tight. You want to get your routines down tight. That's what's going to help you. Maybe not even necessarily, you may not remember all the content that you're studying physics or organic chemistry, but those habits will carry you through medical school. So really focus on just learning how you learn. Like I think really I learned pretty late, like, I just need to keep it's repetition. Some people need their visual, some people are auditory, so figure that out. Figure out how you learn the best. That's how I think that's the best thing you can get from your pre-med courses in terms of preparation for medical school.
Yeah, and I think we're really making an argument for the pre-med classes, but I would also say if you are struggling with one of your classes, it also teaches you the art of perseverance, which will be invaluable for your medical journey. Obviously, you need perseverance. Even at the pre-med level, you're trying to do all your volunteer work and get everything done. So you might see your friends going out every weekend, and you've got to study for Gen Chem or what have you. So learning for you how to stay motivated even when you have setbacks is also a really important lesson that will serve you throughout your medical career.
Yeah, and unfortunately medicine is it's a process of delayed gratification. So if you can kind of, to put it mildly, so if you can kind of get into that habit of saying, hey, the sacrifices that I'm making today will set me up better for tomorrow, that's the kind of attitude, perseverance you're going to need to get through medical school for sure, because it's a long haul. So it's a marathon. So I remember even graduating, I was happy to graduate from college, but it's kind of like, okay, that was the first leg of the race. And then I was like, okay, kind of you have to pace yourself, pace yourself. And like she said, if you have a setback, don't feel like, I shouldn't be a doctor now because I didn't do good and didn't do well enough in one class, or, what have you, or I didn't love this subject. Just realize it's more about those skills that you're learning from being in those classes than any one subject matter.
I think it's important to realize that you have to find your community. You have to find your support system, that nobody can make it through this process by themselves. And even at the pre-med level, I think there's always a pre-med society and different things that you can do, but finding people who are on a similar journey as you, it is just so important. It helps you in those moments when you feel overwhelmed to turn to somebody who maybe has been there before, somebody who can help give you perspective on that moment. And so, I think that's really important. And for us, we had each other, which was great, but we also had no clue what we were doing.
No clue.
We were just literally trying to Google or look up how to.
Was it even Google back then? I mean,
Yes, we're not that old. We're not that old. But we were like Googling how to become a doctor. What are the tests I have to take? What is the MCAT? What's on it? We didn't have the money to take the prep courses, so we were into and we had to work all
like
summer.
we were working the summer we took the MCAT. We were both working. Were you in a lab too? I was working in a lab when you were working in a lab. So you like work and then try to study too, so it's just not optimal. You really have to be self-directed, so that's really challenging. So if you have the privilege that you can afford a prep class, of course, but I think the reality is a lot of us maybe can't afford that, don't have access to that, but doesn't mean you can't perform. It is harder though.
It's harder.
But we're doctors, we did it. So
we did it. And when we made it to the other side, the Holy Grail, being MDs, we just knew that we've known for a long time that we wanted to try to find a way to make it easier for other people to make the same journey that we made. And throughout our journey, we've done things like volunteering on panels, trying to talk to high schoolers, talking to med students.
We just really felt very strongly about trying to create a resource or create, that source of information that we didn't have. And then, this whole idea, can I just speak out against, find a mentor. It's not that easy sometimes when you don't know. How do you organically just wave your hands and like find a mentor? Especially if you're trying to find someone that you have some similarities with, like maybe another woman, maybe a black person, a person of color. It's not that easy for us to find mentors that really share those characteristics. So we really wanted to make that accessible for people. That's what we hope to do with our website, MedLikeMe, completely free. It's basically kind of just a place where anyone interested in pursuing careers in medicine, or maybe you're already a med student, just have questions, you can submit them. We go in there, we answer them.
Yeah, it's really, right now it's a two-woman show. Although if there is a question that we feel like we're not equipped to answer, or that somebody else could answer better, we will recruit our friends who are doctors and we've or nurses, and ask them to try to weigh in. But we're starting small, but our hope is that it will grow and ultimately become a place where everybody knows about it, and you can go and ask all those questions you might be too embarrassed to ask someone else. You might.
Can I wear natural hair during interviews, for example? What else are you going to ask? Get a straight answer.
Yeah, and it's not just stuff like what's on the MCAT and how do I study for it, which we welcome those questions, but also things like, I just saw something that I think is racist and it's really eating me up, and how do I deal with that in my medical training? So all the things we kind of had to learn through trial and error, we hope to make that easier for the next generation. And I mean, it is kind of selfish in a way, because we really want to see medicine become more diverse. We want it because we are invested in having colleagues who are more diverse, who bring diverse perspectives, but we also, because we both work with underserved populations, really see the effect that the lack of diversity in healthcare providers, the effect that it has on people.
And just leaders in healthcare. I mean, it's you need different voices. I mean, you need a system that works for all people, and their voices need to be uplifted, amplified. And so we really need new voices at the table, kind of advocating, saying, this is reality, this is what's needed. Maybe this is a perspective you weren't thinking about, or that was overlooked. And I think that's ultimately to do best by our patients, to become better physicians as a community. We need to change, alter the knowledge that's coming in as well. So I think it's twofold. It's for just, helping people get through medicine, because we want them to succeed in their own lives, and being a doctor is a great profession, but also for patients too. That's we're advocating for them by helping to bring more diverse voices, into the provider side, into the health leadership side. So
I would just add that at the pre-med level, try to remember that it's one piece of your journey, and even though it can seem cumbersome, always have your mind on the future. I know even though it seems far away, it actually will come pretty quickly, the day when you're not asking someone to accept you and like, please let me have a spot, but the day you're actually sitting at the table and have the ability to influence somebody's health care. So that's why you're sitting through organic chemistry. Not because you love it, you don't have to love organic chemistry, but it's something that you're doing in pursuit of this bigger goal of making a difference in the world. And you're so needed.
You're so needed.
Yeah.
You're so
Don't give
needed
up.
by the leadership in healthcare. You're so needed by patients who are, as you know, there's so many health disparities, disproportionately getting, subpar care, disproportionately struggling with access. So you're needed, and you're needed to also do, the teaching of colleagues and helping them expand, how they're serving the patients as well. So they just need your perspective in medicine. So keep that in mind. You're valuable. You're needed. Keep pushing.
And in a few years, hopefully you can find us and work with us and join our cause, and help us change the face of medicine and change the way this profession is run. So keep going.
You can
don't give up. You can reach us at our website, www.medlikeme.com. We also have a personal site, thetwindocs.com. Maybe we'll have links to our social media if you want. You can check those out. We both have Twitters.
Feel free to shoot us a message.
Shoot
Twitter,
us a message.
Facebook.
We're pretty approachable. We love hearing from you guys about your journey and any questions you have. So